Hey everybody, the purpose of this video is to kind of get a little extra guidance on the percent problems in review for your quiz tomorrow. It is optional, but it's here if you need it. So if you feel like you need some help, you can watch the whole thing, or you can skip ahead to particular problems that you need help with. The first problem says, yesterday you picked on your brother for 10 minutes. Today you only picked on him for 4 minutes. What's the percent of change? All right, if I'm looking for percent of change, I always need to start by identifying my original amount and my new. So the original time was yesterday, 10 minutes, and today it was 4 minutes. This is going to be a percent decrease. So now let's figure out how much it went down. 10 minus 4, oops, let's try this again. 10 minus 4 is 6. This is that amount of decrease. And so now we take 6 out of the original to figure out what percent decrease that is. And we have 600 divided by 10 is 60%. And remember to put decrease after your answer, because you went down on the amount of time you were picking on him instead of increasing it. Number 2. During school one day, 135 students chose pizza for lunch. This is 45% of the students at the school. How many students are in the school? Well, I'm looking to figure out my total here, and I know that the 135 students are the ones that chose pizza, and that goes with my 45%. So 45% chose pizza. And the 135 are the ones that chose the pizza. We're looking for our total students at the school. And I do 135 times 100 divided by 45, and I see that there are 300 students at the school. You always want to make sure that answer makes sense. And in this particular problem, yes, it's more than the number who chose the pizza, so this answer does make sense. All right, next we have number 3. It says Jordan Taylor made 85% of his free throws during a game. If he shot 20 free throws, how many did he make? Okay, well, I'm going to start with my percent, because I know 85% is 85 out of 100. And now I need to decide, where does this 20 go? Well, these are the 20 that he shot, so that's our total. We're looking for how many of those he made. So 85 times 20 divided by 100, and we get 17. Include my label. He made 17 out of his 20 free throws. Okay. This might have been one easier done with an equation. You could just do 0.85 times 20. That'd be much faster. But I'm going to show mostly proportions today for people who like proportions. Next, we've got Jordy Nelson bought a t-shirt that was 30% off. The t-shirt originally cost $40, and we're looking to figure out how much did he pay. All right, so 30% off, and I'm going to put off after it just so I remember that that's going to be my discount. That's my amount that was taken off. And it tells us it originally cost $40. Well, I know that my original amount is going to go on the bottom, and we're looking for the amount that's taken off first, and then we're going to figure out how much he paid after that. So 30 times 40 divided by 100 is 12. Okay, so sometimes people stop and put that as their answer, but that doesn't really make sense, right? It was originally 40, and 30% off is about a third of it taken off. This wouldn't be our final answer. This is the amount of the discount, or the amount that was taken off. So what we need to do is take that away from our original amount. So that our original price minus the amount of the discount is equal to the amount that he's going to have to pay for it. Number 5 says a baseball team won 10 more games than they did last year. If this was a 20% increase, how many games did they win last year? Well, this looks like it might be a percent of change problem, but it's set up a little different than many we've worked with. So let's start with our percent, because that's a good place to always kind of begin. We know 20% is 20 out of 100. And they're telling us this was a 20% increase. Ooh, I can see that that's the percent that it changed. Okay, so now we don't know our original amount, but we do know the number of games that it changed by. We know the amount of the change. So it went up 10 games from last year. All right, so we're looking for our original. So this is my percent of change over 100 equals the amount of change over my original amount. When I solve for x, I'll know my original amount. So I do 100 times 10, which is 1,000, divided by 20, and I get 50. So that means that last year they won 50 games. And you can kind of check to see if that answer works by taking 50 times 0.1. 50 times 0.2. It's 20% increase. And I get an answer of 10, and that's how many games it increased by. So my answer checks here. Number 6, find the new price. A $56 coat is marked up 80%. Well, remember, markup is how much the store is going to mark it up so that they can make a profit off that sale. So it's going to cost more than $56. Let's figure out how much more. So I'm actually just going to use an equation on this one. Proportion would work too. Equations are faster for this one. So 80% is 0.8, and it was originally $56. So I'm going to do 0.8 times 56, and I get $44.80. Now don't make the mistake of thinking that's your final answer, okay? Because $44.80 is less than our original price here. So it wouldn't make sense because we're marking it up. So what does this amount mean? Well, this is the amount of markup. You don't need to label that on your paper unless you want to. That's just for you to kind of see. That's how much we mark it up by. Well, if my original was 56 and then I marked it up 80%, I marked it up $44.80. And when I add that to my original, I see that the new coat, or the new price of the coat, is $100.80. That's how much they sold it for. And then they made this $44.80 in profit when they sold it. Let's take a look at number 7. It tells us that you buy an iPod for $75 and you have to pay 6.5% sales tax. What is the total price you will pay for the iPod? Notice how I always circle what it is that we're looking for. That way I don't accidentally just put the tax as my answer. I know that I'm looking for that total price. So that's something you should be practicing while you do your homework too. All right, so it's $75 and we're paying 6.5% sales tax. So we're trying to find 6.5% of 75. So the 75 goes on bottom. All right. And when we do that, we get 6.5 times 75 equals 487.5 divided by 100. And I see that x equals 4.875. So now I have to decide how to round this. And some of you are still struggling here. We're rounding to the nearest cent. So we're looking at this digit. We have to decide, does this stay 87 or does it round up to 88? Looking at this, it's 5 or greater, so the amount of tax that we're paying ends up being $4.88. Okay, but we're not done yet because it's not asking for the tax, it's asking for the total price. So do you know what to do with that? We have to add that back onto our $75. So 75 plus 488, and we get our total price of $79.88. All right, number 8. Your bill at a restaurant is $120. You leave a 15% tip. What's the amount of the tip? Okay, now we're not looking for our total. We're just looking for the tip we have to pay. So we really only have one step here. We're trying to find 15% of 120. I like equations for this one. I'm going to do 15% of 120. Or you could have set up a proportion with 15 over 100 equals x over 120. And when I do that, I get $18. Okay. If it was asking for my bill including the tip, I would add that back onto 120. But it just wants the tip. So $18 is the tip on this one. All right, we're almost finished. Let's try number 9. The price of a pair of shoes rose to $60 from $20. Ooh, that was kind of worded funny. What percent increase is this? All right, when I see percent increase, I know I'm looking at the percent of change. So I have to start by identifying my original price and my new. Okay, my original price, well, it says it rose $2.60 from $1.20. So 20 is where it started. 60 is where it ended. Okay, so then we need to find the amount that it changed by subtracting 60 minus 20, and we get 40. This is the amount of change, and it was an increase, so that's going to help us in the end here. So now we take our amount that it changed and put that over the original, and we want to figure out what percent that is, so x over 100. And I have 40 times 100 divided by 20, and I see x equals 200. So what does that mean in terms of the problem? Well, that's a 200% increase. That means it went up by twice its amount. Right? It went up by 40, and it started at 20. So that makes sense in this problem. Let's take a look at our last problem. It says your bill at a restaurant was $45.50. I'm just going to jot that down here. Okay. You had to pay 6.5% sales tax first, and then after that you left a tip of 17% on the total, which includes the sales tax. And we're looking to figure out how much did you pay total for your meal. Alright, so $45.50 was my bill, and I have to pay tax on that. So I'm going to find 6.5% of $45.50. I'm going to use an equation for this one because it's just, to me, it's easier on this one. So 0.065 is how you would write 6.5% as a decimal. Okay. Multiply that by 45.50, and you will figure out how much your tax was supposed to be. And if I look at my calculator, I see it says 2.9575. That's going to round to $2.96. Okay, I like to label it just so I can kind of keep track of everything. So that's my tax. All right, now we have to leave a tip of 17% on the total, including the sales tax. Well, my total, including the sales tax, is going to be $45.50 plus $2.96. $45.50 plus $2.96 is $48.46. That's what we call the after-tax total. I'm just going to do ATT. That's my after-tax total. Okay, that's the amount we're going to tip on. So now I need to find 17% of $48.46. You could, again, set up a proportion with 17 over 100 equals x over 48.46. This is faster. 17% times 48.46. And I find out that it's 8.238, which rounds to 824. So what is that amount? What does that represent? That's my tip. All right, so now let's make sense of all this to figure out our total, how much we have to pay in total for our meal. So it was the $45.50 was our original, plus we found the tax of $2.96 plus a tip of $8.24. So you could add all those up together, or you can just take your after-tax total, which was $48.46, and add that to your tip, and you'll see that it cost you, let me see, $56.70 to eat out. All right, is that what you got? I hope so. If you find that you're off by a little bit, you may have taken the tip amount on the $45.50 instead of doing it on the $48.47. Here, let me show you what I'm looking at here. Sometimes people's big mistake here is they want to take 17% of $45.50 instead of 17% of our after-tax total. So check and see if you made an error on that one. See if that's where you maybe went wrong. sometimes that happens. All right, let me know if you have any questions on this, and remember there's review videos and extra practice problems on my website. Feel free to use them however you can. All right, I'll see you tomorrow.